Hey, I am really sorry to break it to you, but so much of your score on the teas just comes down to luck. Let's say you're going to take the test. If you're lucky, maybe you'll end up with a 75. If you're unlucky, maybe you'll get a 61. There's just a huge range. So, okay, how do you deal with that? Let's talk about how to keep the odds in your favor. Here's something I hear all the time from people who are getting ready to take the teas. They say, okay, on this practice test, I got a 63. But on this other practice test, I got a 75. And on this other practice test, I got a 58. Look, I need a 75 for my program. Which practice test should I trust? What will my real score be? Honestly, and I know you don't want to hear this, there's just really no way to know for sure. And here's why. The TEAS asks questions that are all over the place. Take chemistry, for example, okay? The chemistry questions might cover any of these topics that you see here. How many of them are you really good at? Anyway, let's say you're pretty solid with atoms, bonding, acids and bases, and water, polarity and solubility. But you're pretty shaky on the other stuff. Now, when you take the test, it turns out they have 2 questions about atoms, 2 questions about bonding, and 2 questions about acids and bases. You get all those questions right. Maybe you don't know much about reaction rates and the periodic table, so you get those 2 questions wrong. But the point is, you get 6 out of 8 correct, and that gives you a 75% on the chemistry section. For many folks, that's great. That's all they need. But now, you take the test another day. Your chemistry knowledge doesn't change at all. You still know all the same stuff. But this time, the TEAS throws different questions at you. Now, there's only one question on atoms. There's only one question on acids and bases. The other questions are about equilibrium, reaction rate, physical properties, periodic table, osmosis, state changes, and so forth. So now, you only get 2 of the questions right. And this time, that means you only get a 25% on the chemistry section. And that leads to a low score overall. You don't pass a test, you have to retake it, and on and on. It's a real big pain. But the point is, you knew the same amount of chemistry both times. You knew the same topics both times. One time, you get a 75%. One time, you get a 25%. That's how much it can change. A lot of the times, it just comes down to which questions the TEAS throws at you. And that's luck. Maybe you'll get lucky, or maybe you'll get unlucky. So what can you do if there's so much luck involved? Well, there's a phrase I just love, and it comes from Louis Pasteur, who was a famous scientist. He said, "Fortune favors the prepared mind. The more prepared you are, the more you'll have luck on your side." Let's say you know these 4 topics really well. Honestly, you're not very prepared. Maybe you'll get lucky, but the odds are against you. Your situation is very risky. There are all of these other topics that you don't know well that the TEAS could ask you about. But let's say you really prepare. You try to turn all these topics green. Maybe you don't get them all, but you get most of them. That way, no matter what the TEAS throws at you, there's a much better chance you'll do well. The odds are in your favor now. You're much more likely to be lucky. And then, of course, if you turn everything green, if you really learn all the stuff, you're taking the best possible chance, and luck is definitely on your side. So here's what it comes down to. Your score on the TEAS has a lot to do with luck, like it or not. But fortune favors the prepared mind. The more you've prepared, the more topics you've really learned and mastered, the more likely you are to get lucky. You want the odds to be in your favor, focus on studying and actually learning as much as possible. If this video is helpful for you, I have a whole bunch of study resources on my website, teasinoneday.com. And if you have questions about the TEAS, you can always send me email, tyler@teasinoneday.com. Best of luck.